Hi, everybody, and welcome to SparkofVintage. I'm Cindy, and I am so grateful that you're here with us today for the unboxing of the Sonnets Garden Blooms Makers Box for the month of July. Well, I have to say, when it arrived on my doorstep, I was so excited I had butterflies in my stomach. And when I opened up the box, I was so delighted to see how perfectly curated it was. And I knew this was going to be a fun month of projects. Sonnet sent that gorgeous little dark academia napkin to us. Roycycled Decoupage Paper sent us Faded Botanica and the Floral Ledger. The painted photographer sent along those gorgeous little lefty birds, as well as that beautiful mermaid in Bath Night. Our DIY colors were black velvet and vintage linen, and Fusion Mineral Paint sent along limestone and soapstone, a nice little gray and off-white combination. And Sweet Pickins Milk Paint sent along the flour sack color. There was so much to work with this month that I couldn't wait to get started. So I'm glad you're here, and let's see what's ahead. For our first project, I'm going to transform these two wooden fruit bowls. They were a little boring when I got them at the Goodwill bins, but I knew I would eventually get the right paper to jazz them up. I painted the inside of the bowls with our fusion color of the month, limestone. I used our DIY paint color of the month, black velvet, to do the trim around the bowls, as well as the underside of the bowls and the base. I didn't want a super shiny finish on the bowls, so I used Fusion Mineral Paint in the color Ash to use as my sealer over the DIY paint. I couldn't decoupage the middle of the bowl like I had wanted because of that bolt smack in the middle, so I painted it with black velvet and adjusted my plan. I wanted to decoupage both the inside and the outside of the bowls using Roycycled's Faded Botanica and Floral Ledger. So I cut the decoupage paper into even 6-inch strips. There were so many beautiful options with these decoupage papers, and I applied them with Distress Collage Medium. I was really happy with the way that they easily applied, and even though a couple of places the decoupage paper got stuck to my finger, it still looked distressed and beautiful. But the challenge was trying to film it as I applied it to the inside of the fruit bowl. So I did my best to hold it at an angle where you could see what I was doing and applying the strips individually. Because I didn't get to decoupage the bottom of the bowl as I had planned to, I decided to use IOD's Gilded Transfers in that beautiful gold on the inside of the bowl in various areas, as well as scattered all around the outside of the bowl. I was especially delighted with the painted photographer's rice papers this month. And when I saw the lefty birds, I knew they would be adorable on these wooden ornament cutouts. So I created the foundation for the decoupage papers with the limestone from Fusion Mineral Paint. The limestone covered so beautifully because Fusion Mineral Paint includes a sealer as well. So I was also excited to see that Connie had incorporated that same color of soapstone from Fusion Mineral Paint in order to include that gray. So I knew it would make a great accent color for the edges of the ornaments, as well as a solid color for the back. I had done a little guesstimate measuring to make sure that I got the exact part of the lefty birds on the hearts before I cut them out and traced them with my pencil. I cut out my hearts and then applied them with Distress Collage Medium. Distress Collage Medium is my favorite application, especially for small projects, because it gives you a little more open time if you don't have your papers perfectly lined up the first time. I was so happy with the way the hearts came out and how everything was so perfectly coordinated with the rice papers and the fusion mineral paint. And that's what you get with the Maker's Box. It takes all the guesswork out of it. And I used Ranger's Archival ink in jet black in order to add that little touch of distress to the rest of the ornaments to make them look a little detailed. I found this adorable Trinket box in the bins just a couple of weeks ago. I love the shape of it. It's got a cute little curve on it, and the little drawers all fit in perfectly. So I knew it was going to be a great piece to use with the napkin that Sonnet sent to us for the Maker's Box this month. I was inspired by the napkin to do a little bit of like a dark academia or like a laboratory kind of theme to the piece. So I decided to paint the little drawers black as well as the inside of the cabinet so that when you pulled the drawers out, you still had that kind of infinity black color on the inside. I sealed the drawers in Duraclear in a high gloss varnish because I wanted it to really pop and shine. The varnish also added an extra layer of protection over the DIY black velvet paint. The napkin size fit perfectly over this little set of drawers, but the curvy section gave me a little bit of a challenge. I loved all the nature elements in the napkin, so I used Milo's pages from IOD to add transfers to the front of the little drawers. The napkin was very delicate, but it transferred beautifully. The secret is I have to have a little bit of collage medium on my fingers that is kind of wet and fluid while I'm working. And then after everything dried, it came time to trim those door frames down and sand them back a little bit so that they were smooth so that the drawers could open and close easily and not tear the napkin paper away as they were being opened and closed. And I was really thrilled with how it came out and how beautifully coordinated that IOD transfer was with the napkin that Sonnet had sent in the box this month. I did a second coat of the Duragloss varnish just to make sure that the box was well protected. I found a set of 3 of these beautiful vintage inspired pictures in the bins not too long ago, but I never really cared for that fakey wood frame on them. So when I saw my black velvet paint in the box this month, I knew it would be a great transition and an easy one for these 3 frames. I can be a bit of a sloppy and impatient painter, so I thought it best to tape off the edges of the frame, and I was really happy with the results. When I saw Bath Night by the painted photographer, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with the frame using Tim Holtz's Bubbles stamp from Stampers Anonymous. I decided to emboss the outside part of the mat using Hampton Arts Shabby Chic Blue. I love this embossing powder and I wish they still made it, but it has gorgeous blues and glitters and little pops of gold in it. It was pretty simple, but I just applied the rice paper to a heavy cardstock so it would have support while it was in the frame. I love adding a touch of stickles anytime I can, and this Stardust color had the perfect blue to match the water. I used double-sided tape to secure the picture to the mat in the frame, and it was ready to go. Well, that's a wrap for the July Makers Box. You can subscribe to your own Makers Box at sonnetsgardenblooms.com. Be sure and check the comments below for a link to the complete Makers Box playlist. Thank you for joining us at SparkofVintage, and we'll see you next week.